So we are finishing up our stay here in Glacier National Park. We've been here 5 nights and we're getting ready to leave, and I thought I would just give you a quick overview of what we did, what we saw, and maybe some tips that might help you plan your visit. I will say I think Glacier has become my favorite national park. I would say we had incredible experiences here as a family like we have in Sequoia, but I feel like you could, if there was one park you had to choose to keep coming back to over and over again, I think Glacier kind of has it all. It has the lakes, it has the rivers, it has the waterfalls, it has the peaks, it has the vistas, it has the hiking, it has all the animals. I mean, elk, moose, brown and black bear. I mean, it really just has it all. An amazing road, and it even has the international piece in Canada if that interests you. So we stayed in Epgar for 5 nights. The first day we were here, we got in kind of late. Everyone was kind of tired and we had a time zone change, so we didn't do a lot of hiking. Well, actually, the first day we got in, I take that back. The afternoon, I'm referring to the first day. The first day we basically hung out on Lake McDonald. We rented a boat for $35 an hour, just a super reasonable price from the Glacier Park Boat Company. They even charge by 15-minute increments, so you don't end up paying for hardly anything you don't use. And that was just beautiful, wonderful, relaxing day. The night we got in is what I was going to say is we did drive all the way up to Logan Pass, which is kind of the center of the park, and we did the Hidden Lake Trail. We didn't get to go down to Hidden Lake, it was closed, but we did get to go to the overlook. So yeah, then we went to Lake McDonald the next day. The following day, we went back to Logan Pass, and to our surprise, the Highline Trail was open. So we did the Highline Trail, which is this dotted green line here. Kind of follows the road for a little bit, and then it goes up to Granite Park Chalet and then down to the loop. It was 11.8 miles, the longest we've ever gone together as a family. We started at 10 a.m. and we finished at 7 p.m. It was epic, amazing, well worth it. Yeah, the next day we drove, basically this section along Lake McDonald is under construction, the road is, so super dusty and kind of congested. So we actually went out of the park, came back around and popped into Many Glacier. We hiked to, let's see, where is it at? Right here, Grinnell Lake. So it was 7 miles total out and back. The glacier was closed, so we couldn't actually go up to see the glacier, but that was fine because it probably would have been too much for my kids because they were pretty tired. Yeah, Many Glacier and Apgar are both sort of hubs and villages. They have quite a lot going on there. Get ice cream and showers and all sorts of things. Yeah, and then we finished the day by going back out and seeing this half of Going to the Sun Road. I think that the western side, specifically this section of Going to the Sun Road, is a little prettier than this section. I didn't think St. Mary's Lake was particularly pretty. I thought Lake McDonald was a little better in terms of the views. But yeah, this area, right just east of Logan's Pass, I would say that area is really interesting. So if you had to decide, if you had to commit to just one side of the road or something like that, I would do the west side. And if you can go past Logan Pass, go from maybe here past this this bend. There was an overlook to see Jackson Glacier over here, which was cool. And there was oh yeah, here it is, Jackson Glacier overlook. And don't get me wrong, there are a few good views, but the going can be slow on those roads because people are sightseeing, and so if you had to choose, I would choose the western side. We did not make it to the Two Medicine area, so I can't tell you much about that. I will say, like all the national parks, you really have to hold your plans loosely. When we got here, the Highline Trail was closed and the trail down to Hidden Lake was closed. And then the very next day, the Highline Trail opened, even though the ranger had told me it was unlikely to open for another few weeks. So you just have to hold your plans loosely. Things that are open and closed, like they closed some of the things because of snow, but they closed some of the other things because the fish were spawning and the bears were active. So it's not even all weather related. Of course, you also have the weather to deal with, and then you also have kind of what day of the week it is and how congested it is. And you also have, you know, the mood that you and maybe your children are in, if you're up for that kind of thing. There were some days, you know, we woke up and my youngest son just said, like, please tell me we don't have to hike today. And so, of course, there are times you tell them to buck up, but you also don't want hiking to be something your kids hate. So hold your plans loosely here. The views are great. The hiking is great. The animals are great. Yeah, I would say my only, let's say, criticism is that you can't get to Many Glacier and to Medicine without going out and back in. I always like staying in the park once I'm in it. I don't like popping out and going back in, but that's a pretty small criticism, all things considered. So Glacier National Park. Last thing I was going to suggest is when you ask the rangers to mail you the map and everything, ask them to mail you the day hiking guide. This is something they did not mail us, but it's something you can ask for when you enter the park or get from a visitor center. It's really helpful for planning your way. One thing that's really important when you look at trails is the elevation gain and loss. And so what I like to do, I'll take a simple example. If you take this one, you take 83 feet and you divide it by 5,280 feet in order to get the equivalent of 83 feet in miles. Then you divide it by 1.1 and you get your rise over your run or your grade. And so like this would be like nothing. This would be like 0%. But we did some trails that were like 9%. And so the grade of up and down can give you an idea of how tough it's going to be, because a flat trail is, you know, significantly easier, especially on kids, than a steep trail. So I always like to figure out the grade of the trail. Again, you divide it's basically rise over run, right? So it's how much you're going to go up over how much you're going to go, but you got to convert either that to miles or that to feet. So that's my last tip. Get the day hiking guide and enjoy your time in Glacier National Park.